when you're filming a video about mental health and your mental health is trash. Do what I say, guys, not what I do. Nobody should trust me with scissors. Hi guys, it's Leanne and today we are here for the start of a new series. You guys know that I have always been as upfront as I possibly can be about my struggles with mental health. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and in the past I have been housebound with agoraphobia. I have panic attacks, I have insomnia, and I take mental health medication. Have you ever asked yourself why all of those things that I've just said sound quite confessional and a little bit risky to tell people on the internet? It's weird, right? Because they shouldn't. They should be things that we just talk about in normal conversation. Like, hi, I'm Leanne. I live in Scotland. I like books, and also I have anxiety and depression. I feel like people with any kind of mental health issues fight a daily battle to try and just normalise their conditions with their friends and their families, and it shouldn't be that way. So I've decided to start Totally Mental. That was the #1 insult that I got when I was in high school and college. What, Leanne? Oh, she is totally mental, like totally mental. And so while a little bit of that title is tongue-in-cheek, the rest of it is me owning something that's bothered me for a lot of my life. This is going to be a series where I recommend to you books about mental health, test out some self-help books for mental health, introduce you guys to a lot of the memoirs that have helped me over my life, normalising what I go through on a daily basis, and just doing other fun things that mean that we, as a community, talk more about this weird brain chemistry that lots of us have. Today's video is all about gentle mental health books. This is going to include a bunch of primers that I have discovered, things that can just pep you up a little bit when you're having a particularly bad day, and books to give to people in your life who you feel are suffering from some kind of mental health issue and they maybe don't know how to talk about it, or you don't know how to talk about it with them. Which leads me nice and neatly into O's little book of calm and comfort. These gorgeous little hardback books are published by Pan Macmillan, and essentially they are brought to you by the editors of the Oprah Winfrey magazine. It is the nicest, most concise little collection of comforting essays, mini essays, and I would say kind of snippets from writers that you've definitely heard of, and some gems from people that I didn't know existed. They cover so many subjects: anxiety, depression, grief. There's a little essay in here called Futzing from Lisa Funderburg, and it says, "What gladdens my perfection-obsessed heart is to attempt projects that don't matter, at least not in the grand scheme of things." So as well as just little pieces that say, hey, I hear you, I feel you, I get what you're going through, you're not alone. There are also little pieces in here that say, hey, do you know what? It's pretty terrible right now. Here are some things that you could maybe do to make that better. And also, here are some things to think about that might just make you spontaneously glad. Sometimes the best way out of dark places is to just find something just a little bit shiny to focus on while you walk up the tunnel, and that is very much what most of the essays in this book are. On the subject of little things in your day that you can do just to ease the sadness a little bit, I have another great recommendation. I often find that what people do when they hear you say, I feel sad, is to say, oh my god, how can I cheer you up? Anxiety and depression does not work like that. I am not necessarily sad for a reason. I am sad because I have brain chemistry that doesn't work properly. And so some people can find it so overwhelming when people are constantly throwing bits of advice at them. And I get that that is your instinct as a friend or a family member, to try and take things away and make them less of a burden and make everything feel better, but it's not always possible. Here is a book of 101 tiny little things that you can do to brighten your day. So wait, I see that face and I agree. The thing about books like this is that quite often they can be really trite, and they are essentially the book equivalent of those motivational posters that's like, live, laugh, love, be your best self every day. Every day is going to be your last. Trigger everybody who's scared of death. Achieve, 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 because if you're not achieving, then you're a worthless, terrible slug of a person. This book is very thankfully not that. I was dubious when I first got this until I started reading through and noticing that a lot of the really effective mental health techniques that I had been taught over my life by professionals were actually mentioned in short in this book. One of them, number 14, is my absolute favourite. If you're feeling overwhelmed and caught up in your head, try to focus on textures. Remember that scene in Amelie where she plunges her hand into a bag of grain? Stroke the fabric of the chair you're sitting on and concentrate on how it feels against your fingertips, etc. and so forth. That's one of the first techniques that I was ever taught for coming out of a panic attack, and to this day, like 10, 15, I don't know, many years later, it is one of the only things that consistently works for me. Albie Malone has truly put together a little book of things that really work. The last sort of little compilation mini advice book that I will mention in this video is one from one of my favourite mental health authors ever in the entire world, and that is Cheryl Strayed. This is Brave Enough, which is a compilation of her writings, both from Dear Sugar, her agony aunt column that she did online for many years anonymously under the name of Sugar, and is now published in a book that I love dearly and have talked many times about on the channel. And also of her memoir Wild, which was of course made into a rather good motion picture recently. I say recently, I mean in like the last 5 years. I don't do movie watching very often, okay? I don't have that kind of attention span. So I've included this one for two reasons. The first is that I love that the title is not something like 100 things to do to make you smile, or like 10 changes you can make to be more mindful. You know, it doesn't come across as one of those little annoying pamphlet books that are filled full of like motivational quotes like live your best life, because if you're not, you're shit. Sometimes when you have depression or anxiety, or just as a normal human in your day, it's nice to be able to know that you're just brave enough, that you're just brave enough to get through that moment or that day or that problem or that tragedy or that massive life change that you have going on. It's just nice to be able to know that you can just get through. So I love that. And the second thing is that Cheryl Strayed is one of the authors that I have reached for over at least 10 years of my life when I feel like things are slipping away from me, when I feel like everything's going too fast and I can't get a foothold. I have often picked up Dear Sugar and read a couple of the letters in it, even though some of those letters are the same letters over and over and over again. But they always make me feel grounded, and all of the quotes and little essay selections in this book make me feel like that. It also includes my favourite Cheryl Strayed quote ever in the entire world, and that is, I considered my options. There was only one I knew. There was always only one. To keep walking. So what about if you're trying to find somewhere to start with mental health, either in educating yourself about your own mental health struggles or those in your life that you love, especially parents for kids? Where do you go? There are so many websites, there are so many resources, but they are all incredibly daunting, and I just wish that even 5 years ago I would have had this book to be able to hand over to people and be like, start here. This is the most basic of guides, and yet it is the most subtly complex of guides, and I just love it. This is the A to Z of Being Mental by Natasha Devon. She is a mental health educator who goes into schools and universities and campuses and talks to people about her struggles and about being open with their own struggles, because it is the best way to save lives. I reviewed this book in a whole lot of detail for the launch of it, and I will pop that one up here in case you haven't seen it. This guide is essentially literally an A to Z, with every single letter being a very familiar topic about mental health and anxiety concerns that we just aren't educated enough about. In the video that I linked above, I talked at quite a length about medication and about the stigma surrounding mental health medication, and that's something that's covered in this book. But also other things that are covered in quite a lot of detail are other mental health stigma issues like J, just looking for attention, or M, for media, because let's be apparently my rage just ran away with me there. Apparently the media, especially the British media, seems to think that the way to solve the global mental health crisis right now is to shame people and make them feel abnormal and not included. This is a seriously detailed but also really tongue-in-cheek primer for anybody who's looking for somewhere to start that makes them feel less like an alien. And I would give it to everybody in your life who has kids, even if they do not currently have mental health issues, even if they are like 2 and they're toty and all they want to do is just stack blocks and I don't know, whatever else babies do. I have dogs and cats. But I would honestly give this book to everybody because I feel like reading this could save a lot of problems for future generations. So I've talked at some length on my channel about a few people in the sort of mental health graphic memoir world. Graphic mental health memoirs are my absolute favourite. I do not know why I engage with them on such a deep level, but I have now got a collection on my shelves that just feel so comforting to know that they're there and I can go back to them. I don't know if it's because so many mental health issues happen in your own head, and so a lot of the times it does feel like you're trapped behind your eyes and nobody's in here and nobody understands what's going on like internally, and graphic memoirs manage to actually put those feelings visually onto a page so that you can kind of externalize them. I guess that might be what draws me to them. But either way, one of my favourite anxiety and depression primers that I give to anybody who mentions even a passing interest in the subject is Adulthood is a Myth. This is the first of Sarah Anderson's currently 3 collections of graphic sort of mental health slash oh my god what the hell am I doing with my life memoirs, which at me, I genuinely when I read the second one of this series was like, are there CCTV cameras in my house? Is she listening to, is she in my head? I promise I'm not as bad a person as some of those thoughts might lead you to believe. These are really smart, really clean, really easily gripping graphically, I think, comics that deal with everything from depression when it comes to the female body, what it feels like through your life to make different transitions, and loads of other topics that are just nice reminders that, again, it isn't just going on in your own head. And on a completely different level, I once gave this book to somebody who was like, do you know what? The texture on the front of this book has actually saved me more than the words inside it. So all of these books have a jumper on the front and they're all flocked, and actually when you're having an anxiety attack, that is a texture that is like really distracting. So whatever works. I will talk about graphic memoirs more in another video because I have a ton of them, but if you are partial to them, of course one that I talk about ad nauseum is Hyperbole and a Half by Ali Brosh. This one is, when it comes to sort of the spectrum of these, this one's very ouchy. It deals very viscerally with feelings of just why is this me? Why am I suffering from this? Why can't I motivate myself? Why can't I do my laundry? Why can't I leave my house today? Why? And it explores the, okay, so I don't know why, but this is what's currently happening, so what do I do? And I love it. It's my #1 most gifted and most talked about and most recommended mental health book of all time, so I couldn't not make this video without mentioning it, even though y'all are sick of me mentioning it. And another one that I've mentioned really recently is Kind of Coping. This is by Maureen, or Marzi Wilson as she is known online, and she runs Introvert Doodles, which, like Sarah Anderson's Sarah Scribbles, is another collection of really eye-catching, really engaging comics, which very much deal with the idea of loneliness and seclusion, which I think is a huge part of mental health, because again, things are going on in our own heads and we might not have the words to reach out, and sometimes I find that the experience of people around you is just like, here she goes again. And this book deals so much with that. These are so detailed and so intricate, but I just could not drag myself away from them. These are two of my favourites. This is possible reasons he hasn't replied, and that, you know, yeah. And why travel makes me anxious, which was a very recent subject that I've talked a lot about on the channel after my holiday this year. So yeah, this one is definitely one that I could see putting in the hands of so many people in my life and being like, hey, I saw this cute book, thought of you. Feeling you with the same dodgy chemistry medication, yay! This next one is a very gentle, very slow-paced memoir that I think is appropriate for anybody of any age suffering from any kind of mental health condition. This is Remember This When You're Sad, a book for mad, sad and glad days from someone who's right there with you by Maggie Van Eyck. This is Maggie's memoir about her worst mental health experience in her entire life. She was 27. She ended up breaking up a long-term relationship, is how I'll put it without any spoilers. And she ended up drinking too much and doing just too much of everything, and she ended up in A&E again and again and again. Also, A&E is the UK's ER, or emergency room, or where you go when you get taken by ambulance somewhere, which is really freaking bad for like people who have heart attacks and stuff. And it's even scarier if you think, oh my god, I'm being taken in an ambulance somewhere for my mental health. I have been there, it is not pleasant. And no matter what's going on, it immediately makes you think that it's 10 times worse than it is, even when it's literally as bad as it possibly can be. Each of these chapters centre around a different experience that Maggie had, but they are all titled like, Remember This When You Are. And so it's nice once you've read it, I think, to just dip back into the chapters that refer to how you're currently feeling at the moment. And also it's filled with not only little illustrations, but lists. Lists make my heart so happy. Lists are such a good tool for anybody who suffers with anxiety. I cannot recommend getting into list making and like learning to score things off enough. Lists. Next up, I could not finish up this recommendation section without mentioning one of my favourite Scottish comedians in the entire world, and that is Susan Kalman. This is Cheer Up Love. My lovely, lovely friend Leanne from Leanne Rose, who is also one of those friends who is there for me no matter what, no matter how long it takes me to reply to her. She is always right there for me. Actually recommended this weirdly on the same day that I got it from my mum as a present, and I am so happy. So happy, because when my mum gave me it I was like, oh god, it's going to be another celebrity memoir that's going to be one of those really sort of like, look at me, I'm being current, talking about mental health things, and I was kind of all poised to be like, nah. But because of Leanne's recommendation, I persevered, and this is great. This is subtitled Adventures in Depression with the Crab of Hate, and essentially Susan realised that something was different about her brain chemistry, and she set out to find out exactly what depression means, and interspersed with this journey is some really actually quite harrowing stories from her life. One of my favourite sections in this one is the way that mental health just complicates everything in your daily life, just everything. So Susan has gone for an eye test, and the guy doing the eye test, the optician, has said to her, yeah, you probably need to go and get this thing checked out, I'm not entirely sure what it is. And this is the next section. By way of providing some assistance, he told me that I needed to go to the eye hospital, at which point I panicked and implemented my tried and tested emergency health plan. Ignore it and eventually it will go away. Or you'll die. Either way, no need to bother anyone. And she realises that the reason she has done this is because part of her mental health condition is to catastrophise everything. Everything is going to be the worst possible outcome no matter what she does, and that is a huge and very common mental health concern. This book is fabulous but it's also hilarious. And that's the one sort of unifying thing most of these books have that I've recommended to you, is that most of them have a little bit of tongue-in-cheek somewhere in them, a little bit of something to be like, oh, okay, break the tension, this is all crap. But, you know, you can laugh about it because the alternative is not to, and is just to be stuck feeling the same thing over and over again with no break, and your brain physically cannot maintain that level of depression and panic for that long. Would absolutely recommend for yourself or anyone else in your life that can do a little bit of humour but is also interested in this topic. Okay, so now for something rather exciting. As I said at the start of this video, not only am I going to recommend things, but I'm also going to try them out for you. And so in this video I'm going to do an unboxing. It's been such a long time since I've done any kind of unboxing on this channel, but the lovely, lovely ladies who run the Unplugged book box sent one to me and asked me if I would like to show it off to you guys, because the entire principle behind their company and the idea of curating these boxes is to be unplugged, is to make your mental health better by taking time for yourself. This one is the adult book box, I believe, for May, and the theme for this one was grief. In here, as I open it up, which is as far as I got before trying to slice my fingers off, there is a quote which I really, really like. It says, "Yet sunshine brightens after rain, the darkness comes and goes again, so solace follows bitter pain as seasons wax and wane." How did people do this? Using my boob as a prop. Hashtag pro tip. Okay, so in here we have got what I believe is a spoiler sheet, so I'm not going to look at it. And then the inside is packed like this. My cats are going to absolutely love this stuff. Oh, I had to break the heart to rip open the tissue paper. That was so sad. So this is what the inside of the box looks like so far. I'm going to find out what this is. I need an adult. Oh, it's a candle. I mean, I feel like I am the most basic bitch in the world when it comes to self-care, because one of the first things that I do is light candles. So this one is Carry the Fire. Fire, Country Fruit and Family. Okay, so away from me. The scent is Smoke and Spice and Orange, and it is by Cozy Light Candle on Etsy, so I will link that below as well. And now let me try to inadequately express what this smells like. Ooh. It smells expensive. That's what it smells like. It smells like I've gone into one of those like homeware stores that is way above my price bracket, and I've been like, yeah, this smells too expensive for me. I need to go a few doors down. Oh, okay. We've got some candy. Okay, so we've got Cafe, which is premium coffee candy. I am not the biggest coffee lover in the world. I do enjoy the occasional latte. But you know, let's just do it. I love anything which can potentially destroy my teeth. Oh, it's hard candy. Oh, I'm gonna have to suck it. Mmm. Okay, I take it back. I'm never gonna be able to suck it. I'm gonna crunch this. Mmm. Okay, so that tastes exactly like a latte tastes. It's weird. I'm gonna say it tastes like coffee smells. Mmm. There is so much in this box. Is this normal, guys? Like, I don't get book boxes. Is this normal? What is lovely never dies but passes into another loveliness. Stardust or sea foam, flower or winged air. Aww. Ooh, doggies, be quiet. I am filming a cam unboxing. Ah, this is a face mask. Okay, nice. So you mix it with some warm water and then it goes on like, you know, like a sticky mask, not like a satisfying peely one at the end. But banana is definitely a scent that you're always gonna get me to enjoy. So, Oh, what else is in here? Oh, what is this? Oh, it's another smelly thing. Grapefruit, patchouli, ylang ylang, frankincense, coconut oil and rose quartz crystals. Okay, so I am allergic to coconut, which is like, I mean, nuts, some nuts, coconut especially. So I'm not going to put any of this on me, but I am going to smell it. Okay, I have to find something to rub it on that's not my skin. Oh my god. Oh, they know me so well, I'm so sad. Oh, it's the grapefruit. It smells exactly like grapefruit and frankincense, but I can completely see why this would be something that people would find comforting as a scent. That was super cute. Also, so I'm not going to pick this up again because I'm lazy, but there's another thing in here. Uh-oh. Oh no, I need an adult again. Oh, even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. Wait, is this like... Yeah, it's a tea towel. Aww. Yeah, I'm not using it as a tea towel. I might use it as like a tablecloth for my desk so that I can see that all the time. That is the cutest thing ever. That doesn't feel like it will come off anytime soon either, which is good for those of you who may use it as a dish towel because I'm quite hard on mine. And then finally we've actually got a little card in here which talks about grief journaling. It's a sort of 10-point prompt list of the things that you can start your journal with if you're finding it difficult to find topics. And then there is tips for dealing with grief on the back, which I just think is pretty awesome. Oh, okay, so we have this beautifully wrapped book in here. Let's see. That was very satisfying. Ooh, okay. So far I am pleased because I spot a quote on the front by Lisa Gardner, whose writing I love quite a lot, and this is a pulse-pounding winner of a thriller. Wow, that is a tongue twister. And this is Saving Megan by DJ Palmer. So I'm not liking the cover, but that's okay. Oh, okay. So in here there is a book plate, signed, hand signed by DJ Palmer, so that's really cool. And then there is, oh, read after finishing Saving Megan. Okay. And then guess like a press leaflet thing. Oh no, a little letter from DJ Palmer. That's really sweet. I've never heard of DJ Palmer before. So essentially this is about a marriage. It is about a husband who has opinions about his wife's care for their teenage daughter. He thinks that she's far too obsessed with finding a cure for her mysterious health problems, and then Megan's health takes a serious turn from the worst and she is hospitalised, and the staff in the hospital are beginning to suspect Munchausen's syndrome, or I guess specifically Munchausen's by proxy. But it turns out that they are also suspicious of their medical team, so I wonder exactly what is going on in this one. I am actually super excited for this. You know that way where you see people unbox book boxes and you kind of see them go, it's great, I'm sure I'll love it. I was worried I was going to have to do that. I was worried I was going to have to schmize for the camera, but I'm not. I'm actually super excited for this one, so that is a definite win. What this? There's something under all of this. Oh, their next book box has got the theme of pride. Ah, it's super nice. I may be returning. Oh, and on the other side there is a Spotify playlist that you can find, which is a grief playlist that they've put together, which is super nice. I'll definitely check that out. That's really good. So thank you to the lovely ladies from the Unplugged book box for letting me try that out for you guys for this episode. I will also report back to you about the thriller because they could not have pegged that one better, could they? So that's everything for this first episode of Totally Mental. I hope that you guys have loved it as much as I have making it for you. As always, if you have read and enjoyed any of the books that I've mentioned in this episode, please tell me about it in the comments below. And of course, if there are any subjects that you would like me to cover specifically for this series, for Totally Mental, then please do tell me about those as well in the comments. And again, I say this on every one of my mental health videos of any description. If you would like to share your mental health journey and your struggles with anxiety and depression and other mental health conditions in the comments, this is, as always, a safe place. I will speak to all of you guys very soon, and remember, as Cheryl Strayed said, the only option is to keep walking. Kiwi! Kiwi! What's this? Hi, Grissom. Kiwi. What's this? What this? What this? Yeah.